There's an old expression, charity begins at home. So the question is, if you have kids, are you supporting them as adults? I'm going to share some stats with you that may surprise you. Survey finds 2/3 of American parents are providing financial support to adult children all the way up to age 40. What are they giving? Over $700 a month to each adult child on average. And of the parents doing it, 1/3 of them, survey says, and all this is in a USA Today article, 1/3 of those parents are suffering financial hardship from the assistance that they're giving their kids. And when you ask in surveys what age kids should launch and be on their own financially, 24 is the age, the answer that people give. And generally, parents do this as just money they give. It's not a loan or anything like that. About half the time, there's no requirement added on for the child, the adult child, that they're giving money to. And this is a tough one because launching is harder today for young adults than it was, in the past. Through much of the past since World War II. So let's use the end of World War II as really the modern era moving forward. So we're talking about the last 75 years. It's become tougher. Housing costs more. There's a lot more things available. And so people spend a lot more money on various things that weren't even a choice, didn't exist through much of the modern era from World War II forward. The way we live is much nicer than the way people used to live. And what people required and expected as members of the middle class was actually quite different than it is today. There's a lot of things that we just accept as part of daily life today. So there's a lot going on here that parents want their kids to grow up and the lifestyle to which they were accustomed growing up. And there's the reality that, particularly on the housing front, it's really, really hard for adult children. I have a belief that you taper off the support for an adult child, that you don't cold turkey because parents, because of the love for a child, won't do so. But at the same time, you don't want to create a lifelong dependence. So as a parent, and I've experienced this myself with 3 children, that first kids are under your roof and you're providing pretty much all their support. And then after they finish education, whatever it is, takes a while to get solidly on their feet. And there are parents, obviously, 1/3 of parents say, hey, go make your way. But 2/3 of parents are of this mindset I have, that you help them launch. But if people are continuing to give significant financial support for 2 decades into adulthood, that brings up this idea of tapering, that you have a continuing conversation with a young adult child and you say, each year I'm going to give you this much, next year a little less, next year less than that, and on like that. And then we have today these really weird things that go on, which is sharing cell phone accounts with the family plans. And a parent may be carrying a child into middle age for that child, and they're still on their parents' cell phone plan. And it's funny because my oldest daughter is on my cell phone plan. Her husband is on his parents' cell phone plan. And so it's like, when do you say, wait, why don't the two of them have their own cell phone plan together? And you have your two kids.
Oh, yeah. They're on the plan.
Your plan. And they're not adults yet.
Mm-mm.
What are you going to do about that?
I don't know. I mean, I think one of the easy solutions, because the family plans, a lot of times it is cheap. Like their lines are $10 each, but you can have them then send you the money, if they want to stay on the cheaper plan. Or
right.
They can go find their own plan.
Yeah. I mean, so this stuff is real, and there is not one clear answer. But I think that if you don't set expectations to reduce the financial dependence, that you create an expectation that it's like they're just going to expect this money for years and years and years, if not forever. And there's a failure to launch truly independently at that point. There's gray areas here. Like, what do you do about, let's say, your kid's child, your grandkid, is in a bad school district, and it would be better if, and your kid can't afford to send the grandkid to private school. Do you then help? I heard recently from an administrator at a private school that 80% of the students in that high school, that at least part of their tuition was being paid by grandparents, not parents. How about that? 80%.
Yeah, it's so expensive. That doesn't surprise me.
So there's
I always wonder, how can everyone afford it when they have like 3 kids to send them through these schools?
Because they got grandparents paying, possibly. Yeah. So a lot of stuff that is difficult to find a clear path. This is one of those things that I really appreciate. If you go post on Clark Stinks, if you feel like I'm missing part of the picture, or you have suggestions that would be useful, you post those, because this is a tough area. Obviously, if 2/3 of parents are doing this is a tough area for people to navigate. And I don't have an automatic answer.